Hey, this is Scott Townsend, and I'm glad to announce that we've got 2 new subscribers to the show, Pop's Daylight Donuts and Castafly Outdoor Adventures. The first one, Pop's Daylight Donuts, man, they've got the best tasting donuts, sausage wraps, pastries in Northeast Oklahoma. And also, if you'll tell the staff there, hey, Scott Townsend said to give me a large spicy pig, they'll give you a free large spicy sausage wrap. But you have to tell them Scott Townsend sent you. So tell them, hey, Scott Townsend told me to tell you to give me a large spicy pig. So there's the offer. There's the call to action. So go to Pop's Daylight Donuts. Say hi to Mark for me. And go to Pop's Daylight Donuts and get you some. The other sponsor is Castafly Outdoor Adventures.
Adventure. That's where it begins. We look to create and document our moments in time while embracing the majestic wonder and beauty of the great outdoors. Our quest is to explore the back roads of the Ozarks, camping, fishing, and just getting lost. Refresh your spirit and join us on our next adventure.
Paul and his crew invite you to subscribe to the Castafly Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel.
Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
Hey, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for joining the Scott Townsend Show. And today I have back with me again for maybe a third time, actually, Cliff Decoteau from Prairieville, Louisiana. What's going on, Cliff?
Oh, trying to stay warm today.
Oh, that's no kidding. Negative 15 last night here in Oklahoma.
Well, not in the negative, but we were in the teens, which is, I mean, even in the 20s is strange down here on the bayou. So the ice is starting to melt a little bit. I don't think we're above freezing yet, but the sun came out, and that kind of helps some of the melting. But we're like around 28, 29 right now. Expecting to get above freezing today and then back into the 20s again tonight. The wind chill, though, it's been kicking, been single digits, teens with that.
So the reason why I invited Cliff on today, this is a very time-sensitive podcast, is this morning I noticed Flow Services posted an announcement on LinkedIn saying that they were closed. They're down there in Louisiana, and they had a Happy Fat Tuesday sign on the LinkedIn post, which made me realize today is Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. So who better to call than Cliff Decoteau to figure out what's going on with Mardi Gras in Louisiana? So this is a little bit different year for you guys down there, isn't it?
Yeah, things are still closed. Before the announcement that Mardi Gras was going to be canceled by officially from the mayor, they call her LaToya the Destroyer. It's it's still Mardi Gras today, right? It doesn't matter that we're still off. Well, I say still. I'm not off today because it's not the company that I work holiday for. Yeah, it's not an official holiday for the European company that I work for. But all your local businesses in Louisiana still take off. You don't have to have a parade necessarily. Still participate in the festivities that is Mardi Gras. You can have yourself an adult beverage and throw on some jazz and have your own little Mardi Gras. But yeah, we still get in the spirit of it, even though it's has been canceled. So as far as parades and everything, the neighborhoods lights, the houses in the neighborhood here have got the purple, yellow, and green going on still. So we've decorated that. But in New Orleans, since there is no parades, people have decorated their houses like floats. So it's I don't know if you've ever done this tradition when you were a kid, but your parents would drive you around neighborhoods during Christmas time to see all these Christmas lights.
Right.
Which technically that doesn't really happen anymore either.
Right.
These days. But I remember growing up in the 80s, that was a big deal. Once, somewhere mid-December on a weekend night, your parents would drive to some of the bigger neighborhoods in the town. You'd park your car and walk through the neighborhood, right, and see all the lights and everything. And
Go
that's kind of
Jackson
fell off.
Street. Oh, you froze up.
Oh.
You're freezing up just a little bit. Hang on a second.
Where'd you go? I lost you.
Yeah, you're freezing up
Oh,
on
there
me
we go.
here a little
I'm back
bit.
now.
All right.
So,
you were talking
yeah.
about jumping in the car and driving around, go up and down Jackson Street and go see some big lights, big houses.
Yep. So they kind of did that with Mardi Gras this year. They decorate the houses like you would see some of these floats that would roll down, Canal Street and all that in New Orleans. So that's been pretty cool. Another thing is they call them reverse parades. So all these people who still had their floats, because a lot of people were still getting their floats ready back in November and December, anticipating that they would still be able to have a parade, or for Mardi Gras, and that didn't happen. But since these floats were already kind of built and everything, a lot of these floats have lined up stationary along with bands and dancers and everything else that goes along with the parade, except they're not moving. And you can get in your car and ride past the parade. So instead of you parking your car and going out on the neutral ground and enjoying the parade, now the parade is parked and you drive past the parade. So that's the other alternative. And then the last alternative is more of an intimate situation, more small communities doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing, but it's not that big of a deal. Like my neighborhood here, 90% of the people here are on a golf cart. So there is a cart parade today in the neighborhood this evening, and that's kind of, I've seen some other communities do the same thing on a smaller scale within their own neighborhood. Still have something. Some people say it's for the kids, and that's kind of what it's about. But it's just kind of in our blood. We got to have something, so, to kind of sense the Mardi Gras spirit, right? So those are the alternatives that we've done here because of that.
You guys still doing king? I'm sure you're doing king cakes down there.
I actually had a piece of king cake about an hour ago, so I had some after lunch. So yeah, you definitely have to have king cake on your Mardi Gras day. But when the calendar changed to January, king cakes start coming out then. So you get one pretty much every week. So today is the last day that you can get a king cake. So but yeah, traditionally you eat one here today, and I've had a slice already. I may have one later, but do have plans to have a couple of adult beverages. I have a couple of Mardi Gras themed beers that some local breweries made. One is a spinoff of the famous, tourist cocktail, the Hurricane, that you can get in the French Quarter on Bourbon Street. They took a sour and gave that, Hurricane cocktail spin to it. So it's still a beer, but it tastes like a Hurricane. That is a collab between Zoni Mash, which is here in New Orleans, and the other brewery, which is J. Wakefield in Florida. J. Wakefield's more known for their sours, so it was kind of a perfect storm for these two breweries to collab on this. And not sure what efforts they went through, if it was more virtual, just like me and you talking here, and that's how they kind of planned out the recipe, or if they maybe came in and did all the safety precautions, and but I know they brewed it in New Orleans. So, and then the other one that I have is from Urban South. That one is right by Chapatula. I spelled it, you probably wouldn't pronounce it that way, but its beer is a play on a king cake. So they have a king cake ale, and basically it's cinnamon, cream cheese, vanilla, and milk sugar to kind of give you that that flavors that you would normally get
king
from
cake
a
vibe.
King cake. Yep. So that's my plans to partake in the festivities. Now, they have done all weekend, though, here. It's something different. It's called a virtual Mardi Gras. There's been these programs that they've been playing through the Advocate, which is the local newspaper. And it's a 3-part series that started, I believe, Friday night. And then now today they're, I guess, just playing all 3 parts together. But it's actually pretty good. If you're somebody who's not from Louisiana or not too familiar with it, even myself, I found some stuff that I didn't even know about it to be educational. So they've talked about a lot of the the history of it, of course, why, what, who, what, when, where, but more current stuff too, like some of these crews and what they do traditionally, and what's the meaning behind those crews that put together these parades. Just off the top of my head, the most recent crew ever was formed in the early 2000s was by Harry Connick Jr. He wanted to start a new crew because there was not a parade that ran on Monday night. So he started his crew on that Monday night parade.
So these parades, when I lived down in Hammond, I didn't live there for very long, but I was there right in the thick of things with Mardi Gras, so I got a crash course on stuff. So these all over the state, correct me if I'm wrong here, each like city, parish, or whatever, they have their own crews and their own parades.
Sure.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, even outside of the city of New Orleans, in Metairie, there's parades there. Like you said, in Hammond, there's all these, bigger cities outside of New Orleans still have their own traditions of how they celebrate Mardi Gras. One of the most famous ones that I have not been to, that I say that it's on my bucket list to go, is in Mamou. And that's an early morning Mardi Gras tradition. So today they wake up, they're dressed out, and looks to be, ancient Mardi Gras digs. So you should go look this up, by the way. This Mardi Gras in Mamou, Mamou. And they go knocking on people's houses, neighbors' houses, asking if they can have their chickens. So the owner of the residence will go in the backyard, release the chickens, and you can imagine, I don't know, 30 or 40 drunk men on horses chasing after chickens and collecting these, because what they do with the chickens, they end up making a gumbo that afternoon with the chickens that they
doesn't bode well for the chickens, does it?
No, it doesn't. But it's a pretty famous tradition that I have not yet gone to, but and they even show it on TV all the time too. And I was like, I got to get down there to go do that.
So they ride up on horses?
Mm-hmm. Right up on horses, and they, like I said, this is crack of dawn, and they've already started drinking. So these guys are nice and primed, and by 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning, they're probably a little too many over.
Yeah.
But like I said, it wraps up with them gathering those chickens to cook the gumbo with, and there's some swamp pop music being played. I mean, it's about as deep Louisiana as you could possibly get. So I definitely recommend you and any of your listeners to go look up the Mamou Mardi Gras. But yeah, just like Mamou, other small towns and big towns, even Lake Charles, Lafayette, they all have their crews that do their own parades and their traditions.
Krewe, right?
Crew with an
instead
E
of
end, yes.
Instead of a C. They have,
it almost sounded like you was plugging the radio station. But yeah, it's crew with an E on the end, correct? With the K and an E at the end.
Why does Louisiana have such a intense set of traditions? I don't know of another state that statewide has as ingrained a set of, they have their own music, their own food, their own language, their own entertainment. Why Louisiana?
I agree. That's why I love it. I mean, like I know a lot of people that say they don't have as much pride in their, where they live. Maybe it's because they haven't found their true home yet. I think when you find your true home, you know it's your home. But this place is just more than just that. I think the traditions are deeply rooted in all the cultures that have came here. I mean, my family comes from Nova Scotia. We were booted out of there. So we got on a boat and came down this way, just much like everybody else that was exiled from different parts of the world that came to this side. But it's a big fusion of French, Spanish, German, Italian. I mean, it's just all slammed in a big melting pot. I mean, much like our country is a big melting pot. Mm-hmm. Louisiana is like the melting pot. I mean, there's a ton of it within the music, the food, just everything that we do, and the type of people that are here are proud of that, and that's why we tend to celebrate it anytime we can get a chance to do it. I mean, we have a festival for everything, for rice, for shrimp, for petroleum. I mean, if it's something that we get from our culture, it's celebrated with a festival or some type of sorts. But yeah, absolutely. No matter what time of the year, it's just like, well, yeah, Mardi Gras this year, I mean, this time of the year, but then 2 months from now, then your festival season starts, and you have the Jambalaya Festival, you have the Rice Festival, you have the Shrimp Festival, you have the Boucherie Festival. We celebrate the pig, so it's an ongoing thing. Just because one thing ends, it's like, well, guess what's coming up now? Now it's crawfish season, so you're gonna eat crawfish. So, yeah, we like to to say we like to party is an understatement, but that's part of it, and we do like to show everybody else who comes down here a good time as well.
That's statewide. That's not just Prairieville. That's not just New Orleans. That's statewide.
You could say statewide, but I think it cuts off somewhere about the middle part of the boot, right? When you get past Alexandria. Shreveport is almost could be, if they wanted to, they could annex to Dallas. Or, the North Louisiana is like on that tip of North Texas and Arkansas. They even say Louisiana in the most incorrect way. They say Louisiana, and that kind of bothers us. But yeah,
Louisiana,
the southeast and southwest. I'd say the lower southern part of below I-10 and right above it is the true, I think, Louisiana. Everything else above Alexandria, which is probably about a quarter part of the top of the boot of the state, it's a little bit. Yeah, they're Louisianian, but.
So Mardi Gras.
Redneck.
Do you do do you observe Mardi Gras in its purest, I don't even know what the purest sense is. I guess this is the last day that you can do whatever you want before tomorrow and everybody.
Yep. So tomorrow whatever you've done today, you repent for it on Ash Wednesday, and then you start to, for 40 days and 40 nights, you got to give up something for Lent and not eat the meat which is not even, I think it's ridiculous. You can't eat meat on Friday. So, oh, wow, we got to eat ball crawfish. We got to eat shrimp. Got to eat crab. Dang, got to eat seafood now every Friday. Like we don't already eat seafood on Friday anyway. But yeah, so today's you live it up, and then tomorrow you pay for it, and then you sit back for 40 days and 40 nights for Lent season.
So what are you giving up?
No, I haven't thought about that yet. It's good. Can't give up beer. Which doesn't make any sense because you're supposed to give up something you really like, right? So maybe I'll just reduce how many I have per week or something.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, thanks for kind of showing us the ropes as far as Mardi Gras is concerned and the traditions in Louisiana. I mean, is there anything else top of mind that we need to know about?
If you've never experienced it, you definitely should. And you don't have to come on Mardi Gras Day to do it. The parade season starts weeks before Mardi Gras. So if it wasn't canceled this year, we would have had parades every weekend. So in mid-January, you start seeing parades on Friday and Saturday. And then in February leading up to this day, you start seeing them on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then in this situation, it would have been pretty much all week going from Thursday all the way up to today, till Tuesday from last week. But you can come in that weekend before, and I say weekend before, like this past weekend is the perfect weekend to come and experience it. And also, if you're worried about being out there in whatever environment and you're not really feeling safe about it, there are some other options. Last year, we were a part of the Bacchus parade where, yes, it rolls through New Orleans, but it also stops and ends at the convention center, and the parade actually rolls through the convention center. And you can experience that if you want to spend a little more money. So, and of course, you got to get dressed up. So you got to wear tuxes.
Weren't you there last year?
Yep. So you wear tuxes. Your wife's, she's got the dresses on and all that. But it's. I don't want to experience more going another way now. You ain't got to deal with the crowds and all that. You get yourself a hotel room. So you drive in, the night before, and then you just kind of relax. And then you bring your ice chest in, which you're welcome to bring your own booze. So you bring your ice chest in. There's food provided. You can bring in some foods as well. And there's tables. There's a huge stage where all these, in fact, well-known artists play on the stage. I mean, they book well-known acts. They have a couple of local acts to open the thing up, but they get some pretty big names that play at these things as well. It's a couple $100, but I mean, it's very well worth it. And I would recommend that to anybody who was, concerned about coming from out of town and just being in the middle of the streets in New Orleans. I get that, but here's the other option. You can look it up not just Bacchus, there's Endymion. Endymion rolls through the Superdome, but that one's even more expensive. I think that one's almost like $400 or $500. So
how do you spell it?
Endymion?
Endymion?
Endymion, but
Endymion.
Bacchus, Bacchus. Yes. It's a great alternative, more adult experience to go.
More controlled, probably.
More controlled environment, correct? It's safer. You gotta walk through metal detectors and all that stuff. So it's a really cool experience, especially at night, because you're in this, in the convention center, and everything's, dark, but they have all the lasers and lights and all that to go along with the floats and the bands and all that roll through it. Like I said, I'll never go. I mean, I guess I'll go to some parades, like especially here in Baton Rouge. They're a little more laid back. We do some stuff downtown, and that's during the day. But for that kind of experience, I don't want to go back. It's like the VIP experience for Mardi Gras. So anybody out there who's listening that wants to come into town and not really put themselves in an environment they don't feel safe with, this is another option. So look up some of the crews that they have out there and see which ones provide these private events where these parades end, where they either go through the Superdome or they go through a convention center or something. There's several of them out there, but you got to pay for it. You got to dress up and look nice for it.
All right, Cliff. Well, appreciate your time. Stay warm over there. Thanks for your tutorial there on Mardi Gras and all things Louisiana. It's what's that phrase?
Laissez, bon temps, rouler.
Rouler, yeah. So yeah.
Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll. So with that in mind, hey, if you enjoy the podcast and you enjoy watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe, like, share. I invite you to do that and make yourself available to the merchandise link in the show notes below. And some of the things that Cliff mentioned in the show here, I'll put some links down in the show notes regarding Mamu, Bacchus, and some other stuff.
Yep.
So anyway, thanks, Cliff. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, go watch that yourself too today. Go watch a little Mamu Mardi Gras tradition. I'm sure there's some YouTube videos out there.
Yeah.
You can, as soon as you type it in, it's gonna pop right up. Just go look how crazy it is. It's archaic, but it's so like down home Louisiana. It's a really cool thing.
All right. Well, for Cliff Decoteau, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for watching the Scott Townsend Show, and we'll talk to you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Deetso Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.